What's up, Geometry? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're going to be looking at our Unit 3 test review, so we're going to talk a lot about our parallel lines, perpendiculars, transversals, all those things that we've talked about all throughout Unit 3. So let's go ahead and get started. If two lines are coplanar, then they must be related in one of three ways. State and draw the three relationships or pairs of coplanar lines. So we have parallel lines, we also have perpendicular lines, and then the third relationship we have are just intersecting lines. So they're not showing any perpendicular relationship with 90 degrees, they're just intersecting normally. Discuss how the slopes of perpendicular lines are related. So these slopes are going to be opposite reciprocals. And that opposite reciprocal allows us to have a 90-degree angle whenever we have lines intersecting. So say we have the slope is 2/3. The opposite reciprocal of that would be -3/2. Number 3, use the images below to answer questions 3, 4, and 5. What term is used to describe a pair of lines that is not coplanar? That was going to be, the answer is skew, and then list two pairs of those lines that meet that description in this cube. So skew lines could be lines AE and line CD. Maybe we could also have line EF and lines BD. Okay, identify all lines that are parallel to AB. So we have lines EF, we have lines GH, and we have line CD. And then identify all planes parallel to EFH. The plane that is parallel to EFH would be ABD. Just make sure that whatever plane you named is this front plane right here. Okay. Number 6, write the equation to the line that is parallel to y is equal to 1/3 x minus 3 and passes through the point 6, 4. It doesn't state what type of equation, so I'm going to show you both the equations. First off, we have point slope form. We're going to use the same slope since we want parallel. So y minus 4 is equal to 1/3 parentheses x minus 6. So that's one option, but if you simplify it into slope-intercept form, we would distribute that 1/3 x, and then we would add 4 to both sides. So slope-intercept form would be y is equal to 1/3 x plus 2. Next, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular. So the perpendicular slope we need is opposite reciprocal, so -1/2. So I'm going to plug that in with my point slope form first. So y minus 5 is equal to -1/2 perpendicular slope of x minus 4. And then to distribute for that slope-intercept form, I'm going to have -1/2 x plus 2. Then we're going to move that 5 over. We're just going to add 5 to both sides. So we get y is equal to -1/2 x plus 7. Okay. Number 8, determine which lines, if any, are parallel or perpendicular. So what we'd want to make sure of is we can find our slopes. So we're going to put all these in slope-intercept form of y is equal to mx plus b. So let's start with line A. I'm going to move that 2x over, so I'm going to have y is equal to -2x plus 10. So my slope is -2. For line B, I'm going to move over that -6x. I'm going to have -3y is equal to +6x plus 3, and then divide everything by a -3. So I'm going to get y is equal to -2x minus 1. So far, line A and line B have the same slope, so we can say line A and B are parallel. Okay, And then let's see what happens for line C. So line C, I'm going to move over the x. I'm going to have negative 2y is equal to minus x plus 8. And then divide everything by negative 2. I'll get y is equal to a positive 1/2 x minus 4. My slope is a positive 1/2. So for this one, it's going to show that A and B are perpendicular to line C. So lines A and B are perpendicular to line C. All right, next up, name a pair of alternate exterior angles. We're using this picture here. So maybe we can say like angle 2 and angle 7. Another pair, angle 1 and angle 8. Consecutive interior angles 3 and 5, or angle 4 and angle 6. And then an angle that corresponds with angle 3, that one's going to be angle 7. Next up, I'm going to write my proof for question 12, and I'm going to type that, or I'm going to first maybe set it up as statements and reasons. And then I'm going to use my text box to actually type it. So statement 1 is L is parallel to M, and angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. So that'll be my given for statement 1. Next up, what I would need to use is I want to prove that my line A and B is parallel. So because L and M are parallel, then I can then state that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and that is using corresponding angles theorem. Next, if angle 1 is equal to angle 3, then I can say angle 3 is congruent to angle 2, and that reasoning can be substitution or transitive property. And then, because angle 3 is congruent to angle 2, I can say that A is parallel to B using my alternate exterior angles converse theorem. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at question 13. Write another proof. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my statements and reasons. Okay. Statement 1 is going to be my givens. The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 6 is equal to 180. And there's one more thing here. It just got eliminated right here underneath the given. It should say prove that L is parallel to M. Okay, so statement 1 is my given. Coming back over here to statement number 2. Because I know angle 2 and angle 6 are equal to 180, then maybe I focus on what else is right next to 6. So I can say maybe the measure of angle 5 plus the measure of angle 6 is equal to 180. And that reasoning could be a few things. I'm going to say definition of linear pairs, but you could have also said supplementary angles. Okay. Then when we go from statement 1 to statement 2, we can maybe use transitive property. So the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 6 is equal to the measure of angle 5 plus the measure of angle 6. Okay, and so that one could be transitive property. Or if you use substitution here, that would be fine. Next, what I would then say is the measure of angle 2 is congruent to the measure of angle 5, and that is me using the subtraction property. So that's statement 5, because 2 is congruent to 5, then I can say that L is parallel to M using the corresponding angles converse theorem. Okay? 14, determine which lines, if any, are parallel and explain your reasoning. So if we're looking at our lines, I know it's kind of tricky here because N is coming through here, but if you just focus on here's P, here's Q, and then here's M. M is creating this 120-degree angle, and it's also showing this is 120 degrees. So we can say that P is parallel to Q because of alternate interior angles converse, showing that these two are equivalent angles, so therefore I can have parallel lines. And then same thing here for number 15, determining which lines, if any, must be parallel. For this one, I said L is parallel to M because I'm using the consecutive interior angles converse theorem. That just says 60 plus 120 equals 180. For number 16, let M be parallel to N and K be parallel to P. Determine the values of A and B. So what I did first here is I focused on my letter A. I said 92 plus A minus 2 has to be equal to 180 since M and N are parallel. So that would be 90 plus A is equal to 180. So A must be equal to A must be equal to 90. Now that I know that A is equal to 90, I'm going to use some substitution and say 90 minus 2 plus B plus 7 is equal to 180. So again, I'm just filling that in there. Then I'm going to combine like terms. 90 minus 2 is 88, but 88 plus 7 is going to give me 95. So 95 plus B is equal to 180. So when I subtract 95 from both sides, I'm going to get B is equal to 85. So that one was just kind of a domino effect. You could also have said 92 is equal to B plus 7 and gotten your answer a little bit easier. And then our last question on our review, let M and N be parallel and K and P. So here's lines K and P. Determine the values of A and B. What I did here is I focused on my A again first. So 3A minus 160 is going to be equal to A. So I subtracted 3A from both sides to get negative 160 is equal to negative 2A, and then dividing both sides by negative 2, A is equal to 80. And because A is equal to 80, I know B should be added to that to be equal to 180, so B should be at 100. So A plus B equals 180, and if A is equal to 80, then B has to be equal to 100. Okay, that is it for our test review today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of guidance as to how your Unit 3 test is going to look. And thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Good luck on your test.